Okay, so what if the pyramids weren't just tombs?
Right.
Like, what if they were something way more mysterious? What if they were built by aliens, or maybe like some lost civilization that we don't even know about? Hmm.
And it's amazing when you really think about it, like the Egyptian pyramids, right, that everyone knows.
Yeah,
Those are just like the tip of the iceberg.
yeah, it's like we think pyramids and we think Egypt right away,
Exactly.
but they're all over the place.
Right.
I mean, you find pyramids all over the world, Middle East, Latin America,
Oh, yeah.
Asia, even across Europe and North America.
And then you've got the newer ones, or the ones that are debated anyway, like the Bosnian pyramids
Oh, yeah, those are interesting.
and the Gympie Pyramid in Australia.
Yeah, so was there like some kind of like ancient architectural language going on?
Right.
Or is it something else? I don't know.
It's a huge mystery.
Yeah.
Like, why are they so similar,
Yeah.
even though they're in different cultures and totally different places in the world?
It's really interesting. So today on Dansplain, that's what we're going to try to figure out.
Now let's dive in.
We're going to explore the theories about how they were built, what they were used for, and even the possibility of, alien involvement.
Right, because we have to look at all the possibilities.
Yeah, we got to cover it all.
So we have two really interesting sources for this discussion. We're going to be using a transcript from a YouTube documentary called Ancient Pyramids: Evidence of Alien Engineering, Aliens and Pyramids Sci-Fi Documentary.
Okay.
And we're also going to be using an article from Dansplain's website called Dansplain: Pyramids Revisited. Could aliens have been involved in their construction after all?
That's a mouthful.
It is a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But these sources give us a lot to work with. We have the more traditional explanations, and we have more unusual explanations.
Okay, cool.
So basically everything.
So today we're going to try to sort it all out.
Right. Separate the facts from the more speculative ideas.
Exactly. So let's start by talking about how these structures are literally everywhere.
Oh, yeah, they're all over the place. Like, it's not just Egypt. I mean, you've got Mesoamerica,
Yeah.
right? With these amazing complexes like Teotihuacan,
Uh-huh.
with this huge pyramid of the sun.
And that is massive.
It is. And then there's El Castillo at Chichen Itza.
That one's beautiful.
It is. And then you have the Sudanese pyramids.
I always forget about those.
Yeah. In Nubia, there are over 200 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're generally smaller, and they have a steeper slope than the Egyptian pyramids.
Okay.
But they were also used as tombs for royalty.
Interesting. So all over the world, there are tombs,
Mhm.
some for royalty,
A lot of them, yeah.
some not. Okay.
Yeah. And then there are those pyramids in China,
Oh, yeah, those are weird. What's the deal with those?
near Jian, right? And they're more mound-shaped.
Yeah, they're not really pyramids, are they?
No, not really.
But they're kind of in that family.
They are, and they're linked to the Terracotta Army.
That is one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
That's incredible.
It's crazy how much detail they put into each one of those soldiers.
And there's so many of them.
Thousands of them. But what I find really weird about those Chinese pyramids is like the secrecy around them. Like the government's actually planted trees on some of them to try to hide them. Why would they do that? What are they hiding?
That is strange. I
Yeah.
mean, what is it about them that's so sensitive?
Yeah.
And then there's Bosnia.
Oh, yeah. What about those?
Well, they're near Visoko.
Yeah.
And Samir Osmanagid says they're man-made. He even says that they're the oldest and largest pyramids in the world.
Bigger than the Great Pyramid.
That's what he says.
I don't buy it.
Yeah. And most scientists agree with you.
Good.
They say that there are natural formations called flatirons.
That makes way more sense.
But here's the thing. An Egyptologist named Nabil Mohammed Swalim visited the site, and he actually said that, quote, "The pyramid concept and the properties are there for everyone to see." Though he did clarify later that he wasn't definitively saying that they were man-made. But it's interesting, right? Even experts have different opinions on these things.
Yeah, so it's not settled.
It's not. It's still a big debate.
Interesting.
And then you have that super weird one in Australia,
Oh, yeah, that Gympie Pyramid.
the Gympie Pyramid.
Yeah.
And there are so many theories about where it came from. Some say European immigrants, others say Egyptians, Incas, even Chinese.
It's Australia. None of that makes sense.
Right. It's so random.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. There's really no solid historical evidence to back up any of those claims.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And what's even crazier is that it might disappear soon
Why?
because there are plans to build a road right through the site.
Seriously? Oh, man, that's awful. We need more research there. We need to figure out what that thing is first.
I totally agree. It would be a huge loss.
Okay, so we've covered pyramids in, like, every continent.
Almost.
Almost every continent, except Antarctica, right?
Right. No pyramids in Antarctica yet.
Yeah, we'll see. But let's not forget about Machu Picchu.
Oh, Machu Picchu. It's incredible.
I know.
It might not be a pyramid, but it's definitely built by people who knew how to build pyramids.
Right, the Incas.
Exactly. And it's this massive complex with insane levels of craftsmanship. Like, they fit these stones together so perfectly without using any mortar.
I know. How did they even move those stones? They didn't have the wheel or any large animals to help them. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. And speaking of mind-boggling, the people of Peru just roll their eyes at any suggestion of alien involvement. They're rightly proud of what their ancestors accomplished.
Rightfully so. But okay, so we have pyramids or pyramid-like structures from Egypt to Mesoamerica to Sudan to China to Bosnia to Australia and Peru. And they all share this basic pyramid shape. And some were tombs, some were temples, some we still aren't sure about. So the big question is, why this shape? Why did so many different cultures, separated by so much time and distance, all choose to build these pyramid structures?
Right. What is it about that shape?
And then there's the problem of dating these things.
Yeah, dating stone structures is really tricky. Like, carbon dating, it only works on organic material.
Right.
So you can't carbon date the stones themselves.
Right, so you have to find something organic near the stone and date that.
Exactly. So you might find a piece of wood or some fabric near the pyramid, and that's what you date.
So it's like, well, this piece of wood is 4,500 years old, so we think the pyramid is about that old too.
Right, but it's just an estimate.
Yeah. So that means that the dates we have for a lot of these pyramids could be way off.
That's right. It just adds another layer of uncertainty to the whole thing.
Okay, so we've talked about how widespread pyramids are and how hard it is to know exactly how old they are. Now let's get to the heart of the matter. How were they built?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
And why? What was the point?
Right, like, what was their purpose?
This is especially confusing when you consider how massive and precise some of them are. Like the Great Pyramid of Giza, it's mind-blowing.
Over 2 million stone blocks.
2 million! And some of those blocks weigh up to 80 tons. That's like a whole bunch of elephants stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, 80 tons. And they fit them together so tightly that you can barely fit a piece of paper between them in some places.
And they did all of that in 2560 BCE.
Right. Without modern tools or anything.
Without cranes, without power tools, without anything we take for granted today. How is that even possible?
It's insane.
And the precision, it's just unbelievable. Like the base of the pyramid, it's almost perfectly level.
Right. And it's lined with the cardinal directions almost perfectly.
Yeah. So how did they do it?
Okay, so the traditional explanation is that they used ramps, levers, and sleds.
Okay.
And we do have evidence of that. For example, they found this ancient ramp system at the Hatnub Quarry.
Okay.
Which shows how they extracted these huge blocks.
Yeah.
And then this diary was discovered from an overseer named Merer.
Okay.
And he actually talks about transporting stone for the Great Pyramid.
So this is like a first-hand account from back then.
Pretty much. So it shows the crazy logistics that were involved.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
It is.
But, okay, I buy that they used ramps and sleds and stuff for smaller structures.
Right.
But the Great Pyramid, with millions of these massive blocks and the insane precision, I don't know, something about it just doesn't sit right with me.
It's pretty hard to wrap your head around, for sure.
And then there's a whole question of, like, were they just tombs?
Right.
Because people say the Egyptian pyramids were built to be tombs for pharaohs, but here's the thing. No pharaoh's mummy has ever been found inside the Great Pyramid.
Yeah, that's true.
So if it wasn't a tomb, then what was it?
Some people think they were observatories for studying the stars.
That would be cool.
Or maybe they were like ancient power plants generating energy somehow. And then, of course, you have the really fringe theories about, like, cosmic portals and stuff like that.
Right. So basically, we don't really know for sure what they were for.
Yeah, there's a lot we still don't understand.
And that's why people come up with these kind of crazy theories, you know?
Right, because it leaves the door open for those more out there explanations.
So that brings us to the aliens.
The big question, were aliens involved?
Right. What do you think?
Well, people like Eric von Daniken, who's mentioned in our sources, they say that the pyramids are just way too advanced for ancient humans to have built on their own.
Yeah, I can kind of see their point.
Right. Like, how could they have done it without advanced technology?
Yeah, and you have these pyramids popping up all over the world.
Right. Different cultures.
Yeah.
Totally different parts of the planet.
And they all have this same basic shape. It's like they all had the same blueprint, you know?
Yeah. And then there are things like the Dendera light relief in Egypt. It looks like ancient Egyptians had light bulbs.
Oh, I've seen that. It's pretty trippy.
It is. So for people who believe in ancient aliens, that kind of stuff is like, see? I told you so.
Okay, it's a cool theory, but I'm not so sure about the light bulbs. But what does mainstream archaeology say about all this?
Well, they say aliens had nothing to do with it.
Really? They think humans did all that.
Yeah. They point to stuff like the workers' villages near Giza. They found all sorts of evidence that regular people were involved in building the pyramids.
Like what kind of evidence?
They found tools, bakeries, even signs of medical care. So it looks like there was this whole community
Yeah.
of skilled workers who were dedicated to building these pyramids.
So it was like a huge organized effort.
Exactly.
And what about the ramps and sleds? Like, do archaeologists think that's really how they moved those massive stones?
Yeah, they think that played a big part. Plus, that diary we talked about from the Overseer Mirror,
Yeah.
it provides a lot of evidence of a massive human operation to transport the stones.
So no magic alien technology.
Not according to mainstream archaeology.
Okay.
But what's really interesting is that the cultural context of the pyramids actually makes a lot of sense. Like in Egypt, they were all about the afterlife, right?
Yeah.
And the pharaoh's journey to the next world.
Mm-hmm.
So the pyramids fit right into that belief system.
Hmm.
And in Mesoamerica, they were all about rituals and their whole understanding of the universe. So the pyramids played a central role in their culture too.
So they weren't just random alien structures that appeared out of nowhere.
No, they were very much a part of these ancient cultures.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. But even if we rule out the aliens, there's still a lot we don't know about the pyramids.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There are so many mysteries still to solve.
And the story keeps getting more interesting because new discoveries keep popping up.
Right. Technology is helping us see things we never could before.
Like what?
Well, in 2024, there was this amazing discovery near the Great Pyramid.
Okay. What happened?
This Japanese-Egyptian team was using ground-penetrating radar, GPR, and electrical resistivity tomography, ERT.
I have no idea what those are.
So GPR uses radio waves to see underground,
Okay.
and ERT measures the ground's resistance to electricity to find stuff that's buried.
Interesting. So they were basically scanning the ground around the pyramid?
Yeah. And they found this weird L-shaped anomaly.
What's an anomaly?
It means something unusual, something that doesn't fit in with what they expected.
Okay. So what was so weird about it?
Well, it was about 2 meters underground, and it could be connected to a bigger hidden chamber.
A secret chamber. That's so cool. So what do they think it is?
We have no idea. Could be a tomb, could be something completely different.
That's what I love about this stuff. There's always something new to discover.
Right. And then there's the Scan Pyramids project.
Okay, I've heard of that. What is it?
So they're using this really cool technology called muon radiography.
You want?
Muon radiography. It's like taking an X-ray of a really big object.
Okay. So an X-ray for the pyramid.
Exactly. And it works by tracking these things called muons.
Muons.
Yeah. They're cosmic rays that hit the Earth all the time.
Okay.
And when they pass through something dense, like stone, they decay at a certain rate.
Uh-huh.
So by putting detectors inside and around the pyramid, they can see where muons are passing through more easily.
And that tells them what?
It means there's a void in the pyramid, like a hidden chamber or something.
Okay. So what have they found with this muon thing?
Well, they found some pretty big voids in the Great Pyramid, including this one that's above the Grand Gallery.
No way. Above the Grand Gallery. That's like the heart of the pyramid.
Yeah, and nobody knows what's in these spaces. It's a total mystery.
They need to get in there and find out.
Yeah,
Right. I wonder what treasures they'll find.
or maybe just more questions.
Maybe. But that's half the fun. And then there's that tunnel they found in Mexico, right? Under the Pyramid of the Sun.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It's really interesting because they think it was intentionally sealed off like 2,000 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like they were hiding something.
So they went in, right?
Yeah, they've been exploring it. And they found all kinds of cool stuff, like thousands of ritual objects.
No kidding.
Yeah. And get this, they found 3 chambers at the end of the tunnel.
3 chambers. What do they think is in there?
Well, they think they might have found the tombs of Teotihuacan's rulers.
The royal tombs.
Yeah, because here's the thing. They've never found any rulers' remains at Teotihuacan.
Really?
Yeah, so these chambers could be the key to understanding who ruled this ancient city.
So there's so much we don't know about these pyramids.
So much. And even with all the new discoveries, they still hold a lot of secrets.
Okay, so Aliens are probably off the table.
Probably.
But there's still a lot of mystery surrounding how they were built and what they were used for.
Absolutely.
So let's dive into some of the more unusual theories about their purpose. Like, what if they weren't just tombs or temples? What if they were some kind of ancient machines or maybe even healing centers?
That's where things get really interesting. There's this theory that pyramids were designed to be sound resonance chambers for healing.
Sound healing.
Yeah. And they've actually done experiments in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid.
What kind of experiments?
They used sound.
Okay.
And they found that certain frequencies resonate in the chamber.
Like musical notes.
Yeah, exactly. Like the coffer in the chamber resonates at 440 hertz.
Okay.
And that's the frequency for the note A.
Interesting.
And some people think that these frequencies are somehow connected to human DNA.
Whoa, that's a little out there. So they're saying that the ancient Egyptians knew about DNA and they built the pyramids to manipulate it with sound.
Well, some people believe that, yeah. They say that the ancients understood things about sound and healing that we're only just starting to rediscover.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah. And then there's this whole thing about sacred geometry.
Okay, what's that?
So it's this idea that certain geometric shapes and proportions have special energetic properties.
Okay.
And they think that pyramids built with these proportions can absorb energy from the earth, the stars, the cosmos, and all of that.
Okay.
And that this energy can then influence people who are inside the pyramid.
So it's like the pyramids are amplifying the Earth's energy or something?
Yeah, something like that.
So instead of tombs for the dead, maybe they were like healing centers for the living.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like ancient hospitals. And they even point to modern medicine to support this idea.
Like what?
Well, you know how they use sound waves to break up kidney stones?
Yeah, that's lithotripsy, right?
Right. So some people think that the sarcophagus in the king's chamber might have been used for similar sound healing treatments way back then.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. And then there's all this anecdotal evidence, like people say that pyramid energy can preserve food longer, sharpen blades, even recharge batteries.
Mm.
And there's even a story about a Canadian hospital that put a little pyramid in their burn ward.
No way.
Yeah. And they said that patients had less pain and healed faster.
Wow.
That's all pretty anecdotal, but it's definitely interesting. And think about the grain they found in Egyptian tombs.
Right. Perfectly preserved after thousands of years.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, right?
It really does. And then there's the whole idea that pyramids can enhance meditation and even psychic abilities.
Right. People say they feel different when they're inside of pyramids, like more connected, more aware.
And some people even claim to have psychic experiences in pyramids.
Yeah. And they use things like Kirlian photography, which supposedly shows auras, to support this idea. Like they say people's auras are brighter inside a pyramid.
I've heard that. I don't know if I buy it, but it's definitely an interesting idea.
Right. It's all about exploring these different possibilities.
Okay, so we've talked about the possibility of pyramids being these giant healing machines or whatever, but there's another big mystery that keeps popping up. These weird, consistent alignments with the stars.
Right. It's almost like they were built to be in sync with the cosmos.
It really makes you wonder, like, how could they have done that and why?
Okay, so think about the Giza pyramids.
Yeah.
They're aligned with Orion's belt, but not just any Orion's belt.
Yeah.
They're aligned with how it looked in 10,000 BCE.
10,000 BCE. That's way before the pyramids were supposed to have been built, right?
Yeah, way before. It's pretty mind-blowing.
So, like, what? They knew how the stars were going to look thousands of years in the future.
Right. Or maybe the pyramids are way older than we think.
Or maybe they were built by time travelers. I'm just kidding.
Time travel.
Or maybe not. Who knows? But okay, so the Egyptians were into Orion's belt. What about the other pyramids?
Well, the pyramids at Teotihuacan,
Yeah.
they're oriented towards the setting sun on certain days that were important to the Tiananos and Maya cultures.
They're calendars, right?
Exactly. And they also align with certain astrological events.
So it's like they were built to track the movements of the sun and stars.
It seems that way, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then there's that pyramid in China, the one in Xi'an.
Yeah. What about that one?
Well, it's supposedly aligned with constellations like Gemini
Okay.
and the star Aldebaran in Taurus.
Okay. I'm not really up on my constellations.
That's okay. But the interesting thing is that this alignment is also thought to date back to around 10,500 BCE.
10,500 BCE. So like the same time period as the Giza alignment?
Yeah. And that's on the other side of the world.
It's crazy. So what does it mean?
Well, it could be a coincidence. But it seems kind of unlikely, right? that all these pyramids in different parts of the world would just happen to be aligned with the stars in such specific ways.
It's almost like they were all following some kind of cosmic blueprint.
Right. Like they had this shared knowledge of astronomy that we don't understand.
Yeah, or maybe they were all getting instructions from the same source.
Like who?
I don't know. Aliens, time travelers, ancient mystics who could see the future. I don't have a clue. But it's fun to speculate.
It is. Okay, so let's talk about some of the weird artifacts that have been found near pyramid sites. Things that just don't seem to fit with our understanding of ancient technology.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So in the Temple of Osiris at Abydos in Egypt,
Yeah.
there are these hieroglyphs that look like modern machines.
Seriously, like what kind of machines?
Well, some people say they look like helicopters, submarines, flying saucers, even jets.
What? Ancient Egyptians had jets.
Well, that's what some people believe.
That's a little hard to believe. But those hieroglyphs do look pretty weird.
They do.
Yeah.
And then there's that sealed-off air shaft in the Great Pyramid.
Oh, yeah, the one with the mysterious door.
Exactly. People have been speculating about what's behind that door for centuries.
What do you think is back there?
I don't know. Some people say it could be a secret chamber with all sorts of ancient technology, maybe even a Stargate or something.
Just Stargate.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But it would be amazing if they found something truly groundbreaking back there.
I know, right? Something that would rewrite history.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got these weird hieroglyphs and a secret chamber in the Great Pyramid. What other weird stuff is out there?
Well, you got the Baghdad battery.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. It's supposed to be this ancient battery from, like, 2,000 years ago, right?
Yeah. And then there's Puma Punku.
Puma Punku.
Yeah, it's in Bolivia.
Okay.
And they have these stones there that are cut with incredible precision. Like they use drills and stuff that we wouldn't expect them to have back then.
So how do they explain that?
Honestly, they don't really have a good explanation. It's one of those things that makes you question everything you thought you knew about ancient history.
I know, right? And then there are those crazy interlocking stones that you find in some of these pyramids.
Yeah, like they were pieces of a giant jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
And they fit together so perfectly that you can't even slide a razor blade between them.
It's insane.
It is. And then there are all these other objects like crystal bowls and things like that.
Yeah.
They're just so incredibly well made, and they were made from materials that are really hard to work with, even with modern tools.
Like granite and quartz, right?
Yeah. So how did they do it? That's the big question. It's a real mystery.
Okay, so we've talked about aliens and ancient technology and all sorts of weird stuff, but there's one more theory that I want to touch on before we wrap things up.
Okay, what's that?
The giants.
Oh, yeah, the giants.
What if the pyramids were built by giants?
I mean, it's a fun theory.
I know, right? And there is some evidence, at least according to some people, like they found these skeletons that are way bigger than normal human skeletons.
Yeah, like 8 to 12 feet tall.
Yeah, and some of them even have double rows of teeth.
I've seen pictures of those. They look pretty freaky.
Yeah. So maybe these giants were the ones who built the pyramids.
It's possible.
And there are legends, too. Like, the Paiute Native Americans talk about these red-haired giants they called the Site-Ka.
Right. And supposedly they had battles with them.
It's like something out of a fantasy novel.
It is.
So maybe these giants were real. Maybe they had advanced technology. Maybe they were even aliens themselves.
It's all just speculation, but it's fun to think about.
So to sum up, we have all these amazing pyramids all over the world,
Right.
and they're full of mysteries. We don't know for sure how they were built. We don't know for sure what they were used for, and we don't even know for sure how old some of them are.
Yeah, it's like a giant puzzle.
And there are all these different theories, from the mainstream to the completely out there.
Right. We've got aliens, ancient astronauts, lost civilizations, giants, sound healing, psychic powers, you name it.
It's mind-boggling, but that's what makes it so fascinating, you know?
Yeah. And I think the biggest question we're left with is, did humans really do all of this on their own?
Right. Or did they have help?
From aliens?
Mm-hmm.
From some lost civilization with advanced technology? We don't know.
It's the ultimate mystery.
And maybe, just maybe, the pyramids themselves hold the answers.
Waiting for us to unlock their secrets.
Exactly.
If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the mysteries of the pyramids, be sure to subscribe to Dansplain for more explorations into the unexplained and the strange.
And for all the latest content and more, visit us at www.dansplain.xyz.
Thanks for listening.